Hey guys, welcome to another movie review. Today I'm going to be talking about a Disney animated film that was hand drawn, and I think it is one of the more recent hand drawn films that Disney has ever done. They haven't really done a hand drawn animated film since this movie. And that's kind of the reason why I wanted to track it down and finally watch it for myself, because until recently I finally have not watched this movie in completion. So I took this time to review this movie and see it in its completion and to tell you what I think of the movie. And that's the movie The Princess and the Frog. Like I said, this is one of their more recent hand drawn animated movies, and unfortunately, they haven't done that since this movie. But this movie proves that Disney should possibly go back to that at some point in the near future because I really do miss this form of animation that they once did, which is very much in the spirit of their Renaissance era in the 90s, in the late 80s, I think, as well. So let's talk about The Princess and the Frog. So in this movie, guys, it's about a young girl who is very good at cooking. Her parents have always encouraged her to pursue her dreams, to achieve the impossible. So at a very young age, this young girl named Tiana has always wanted to run her own restaurant. She's very good at making gumbo and soups and sandwiches and desserts. So people just absolutely love what she does as a cook. And so when she gets older, she becomes a waitress. She works several restaurant jobs. She's pursuing all these jobs all at once. So one, during the morning and afternoon, she's at one job, and at night she's at another job. And for the graveyard shift, she's at another job. So she's just pursuing all these jobs and making tons of money, but still doesn't have quite enough money to be able to find a place where she can start up her own restaurant. So it's just an impossible dream to achieve at first. So as the film progresses, she eventually she's basically a dessert vendor at this wedding that, not really a wedding, but like a huge event where people are dancing and dress up in costumes and so forth. So basically, they want her to, give out these desserts that she's really well known for at this restaurant that she makes. And while she's there, she gets into a situation where she runs into this frog, and the frog tells her that if she kisses him, that all her dreams will come true. This whole business of not having enough money to run your own restaurant will all come to an end. All she has to do is kiss this frog. Unfortunately, this isn't the case. Not only does she not get what she wants by kissing this frog, she becomes a frog herself, along with this frog who's still a frog that claimed that he'd become a prince if she kissed him. So there's all these lies that happen, and so throughout the course of this movie, this Princess Tiana, I guess you could say, is what she is at this point. Is trying to figure out who this frog is, what exactly he wants, what he meant by your dreams will come true if she kisses him, what exactly that entitles. So basically, her dreams aren't completely over with. There's still ways for her to go back and turn into a human again and start at that restaurant that she wants to. But they have to get through a man who's pursuing dark magic in this place, who is kind of like what the frog did from where they're lying to people, pursuing all these magic tricks to make people think a certain way and so forth. So Tiana has a lot in her hands as far as getting this restaurant started up and finding true love and being able to trust this frog after doing this huge lie to her, after claiming that all these dreams would come true that didn't come true by kissing him. So overall, guys, after that very complicated synopsis of this movie, I overall liked The Princess and the Frog. I think it's a very good movie. Like I said, I love seeing hand-drawn animated movies. I'm kind of still sad that not only is Disney not doing this, but seems like other big animation companies really aren't doing that anymore. So I don't know if it's just a more time-consuming process or it's kind of a dying art. There's not as many animators available to do that anymore. So I really don't know why we really haven't had just an animated film in general look like this anymore. I really don't know why we really can't get these kind of films anymore. It really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Um, but overall, from my positives and negatives of Princess and the Frog, because like I said, I really enjoyed the movie. And going back to what I just mentioned a second ago, one of my biggest positives of Princess and the Frog is just how terrific an experience it was with hand drawn animation, kind of how you can only achieve certain kind of effects and certain kind of feelings with people in animated films by doing it in a hand-drawn style. Don't get me wrong, there's tons of great CGI animated films. I love Wreck-It Ralph and some other things that obviously Disney has had their name on as well, a lot of the Pixar titles and so forth. Like I said, don't get me wrong, there's tons of CGI animated films that I absolutely love that very much deserve to be in that format that they were made in. But this film definitely reminded me just how great hand drawn animation is, just kind of how it's so beautiful in its own way, and that watching it that all those little movements of the characters and so forth were once hand drawn by somebody, that somebody was in a studio somewhere and had to draw all those little drawings out just to make it look like those characters were moving around and so forth. So it's a dying art that I really wish that not only Disney would bring back, but other animated studios will bring back. And I do like the Princess and the Frog's messages on dreams come true with hard work. And I really think that's true. I think if you really want to achieve something that's impossible to achieve, if you have a big dream that's very expensive to pursue, very hard to pursue, that people tell you can't do, I really think this film's message is on dreams do truly come true with hard work. I really do think that. I think that that's very much a true thing that. Is true about real life as well. So I liked how Disney pursued that message, because it very much is a very true message that's very true in today's society, very much so. And I really did care about Tiana's restaurant mission. I really cared that this young girl could, continue to cook and continue to serve people these amazing foods that she knows how to make, and that she wanted to make her own restaurant with her own rules, and to be able to allow people to have a good time, and to really just allow people to enjoy all this food that she's able to make and so forth. So I really did care about her mission. I really did want this girl to pursue this restaurant that she always wanted to do, because earlier on in the movie, even around the time that before the opening credits start up, we really do get the impression that this girl really wants this very, very bad. I also liked the film's villain. I really liked how he was able to manipulate people and do magic tricks around them, and to be able to convince them to do certain things by doing a spell before them where they can see this ideal scenario of everything they've always wanted and so forth. So, it's not the most original thing you could do with a villain, but the way it was pursued here, and the way Keith David, who, I've loved in several movies, he's there's something about Mary Alone. He's just absolutely terrific in that movie alone. And I love They Live and some other big movies that he did. Like The Thing was another good one he did. Even The Nice. So, like I said, there's just tons of movies that this man's been in that I love. Um, but he really did well as the film's villain. Like I said, just the way he's able to manipulate people and the way he moves around. You could definitely tell that Disney was definitely thinking Keith David for this character. There was a lot of Keith David isms about this character that I think really works well with this movie. So a huge thumbs up to Keith David and to the animators of this film's villain. They did a terrific job with this character. I also really cared about Tiana's mom and dad in this movie. I think Oprah Winfrey voiced the mom in this one. I want to say Terrence Howard did the dad, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. I know he was a voice talent in the movie, though, so whether that was the dad or not, I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, I really did like how these girls' parents really pushed her to pursue this, and really kind of, even if it looked difficult at first and they can tell she was struggling and not living certain parts of her life, they know that she wanted this so incredibly badly that, they were doing things every way that they could to really make sure that this girl could pursue her dreams. So I thought that was very refreshing to see in a movie. I also like the swamp environment in this movie, that once Tiana becomes a frog and she's with this frog prince and so forth. I liked how the swamp kind of felt dangerous, and if you're walking around in the swamp at night, dangerous things can happen. And there's parts of the swamp, obviously, that are magical and happy, while there's also really dark places of the swamp and stuff. So I like kind of how diverse and how much variety there was in the swamp that they were at. It really added a lot to the movie, I felt. For my negatives of Princess and the Frog, there's a lot of musical numbers in this movie, and unfortunately, a lot of these songs used in this movie are kind of forgettable. I kind of forgot about a lot of the lyrics and the songs in general by the time the film was done with. So that just goes to show that some of the songs in this movie aren't the most memorable Disney songs you'll ever hear. This film also kind of does follow your typical Disney formula of, the lead character is in trouble, and they're trying to get out of this bad financial situation. They meet this prince, and they are promised all this stuff, and the stuff doesn't go right, and they have to figure things out again. And so you're just your typical Disney princess formula is used here, unfortunately. And like I said, I really would have preferred, if Disney took a risk or so, to be able to make a film that could have potentially been a little more different than your typical Disney movie. I also thought there needed to be more human moments with Tiana because she is a frog for so long in this movie. We really don't, obviously the setup of this movie is very much the human side of Tiana and so forth. Once she became a frog, I felt like the film's messages and its goals and the way I was supposed to feel about this character were kind of halted while she was a frog, I felt. I thought her moments as a frog weren't as interesting as the ones where she was a human. Just me personally, probably for that one. Obviously it's the Princess and the Frog and the way the trailer set this movie up and so forth. Obviously, there's a lot of moments with her as this frog, but I think the human moments with Tiana were probably the stronger ones in this movie. So would have preferred more of those human moments in this. I also thought a lot of the characters that she encountered on this journey were kind of second rate. You can tell Disney was trying to go for another Timon and Pumbaa or another Genie or another Abu or another Nala from Lion King or something. But a lot of these characters that she encounters are just kind of second rate. You just kind of forget about all of them by the time the film is done with. We're so focused on letting Tiana kind of pursue her mission and her goal and to get it accomplished that a lot of these characters that kind of help her along the way, we just kind of forget about in the end. So as a result, I'm going to give The Princess and the Frog an 8.5 out of 10. It's very strong and very good when it really knows what it wants and it knows what it's doing. But unfortunately, on the negative side, though, some of the songs are a little forgettable. It does kind of follow that typical Disney formula. More human moments with Tiana I felt were necessary, and some of these second-rate characters are just kind of forgettable by the time the film's over with. But don't get me wrong, the hand-drawn animation in this, very, very strong, very, very good. If you love Disney movies, Princess and the Frog is worth your time and money. Like I said, go into it knowing it's not their best film, but the fact that we got to see another hand-drawn animated film from Disney, I thought was very much worth the time and money of seeing it.